Hello, third class. This is our story for this week. It's 14A, Save Our Sanctuary. And a sanctuary is a place where animals or people are safe, can live safely. In this case, our story is about an animal sanctuary. So we'll read the story and look at the questions after. Aoife flung open the kitchen door when she got home from school, then stopped suddenly. Her parents were both sitting at the kitchen table. Dad looked grim and Mum looked as though she'd been crying. What's wrong? Aoife asked nervously. Our new landlord wants to tear down the farmhouse, Dad replied. He's going to build apartments here instead. He can't do that, Aoife replied, stunned. We'll have nowhere to live. Unfortunately, he can do whatever he wants, Mum said. It's his land. We'll be able to find somewhere to live in the village. It's the animals we're worried about. Aoife's parents were vets who ran their own wild animal sanctuary. They were devoted to caring for wild animals. Most injured animals returned to the wild eventually, but some were too old or frail. These animals lived the rest of their lives in the sanctuary. Some of them had been there for years. Aoife couldn't bear to think of them losing their home. Can't we take the animals with us? She asked hopefully. Mum shook her head. Sorry, sweetie. I don't think we'll find anywhere big enough. Aoife helped Mum to care for the animals that evening, just like she always did. Her sadness gnawed at her. When she came to the deer field, her eyes filled with tears. She could see Hope, one of the deer, grazing in the long grass. Hope had been savaged by a dog when she was a young fawn. With the family's love and care, she had recovered, but she could never be released into the wild. What will happen to you now? Aoife wondered sadly. So we'll just look at the words there in black for this story. So there in the first one, Dad looked grim. Grim is very serious. Aoife replied stunned. Stunned meaning shocked. Unfortunately, he can do whatever he wants. Unfortunately, with a lack of good luck. So our misfortune. Sanctuary is a place of safety or a refuge for animals or people. Devoted to, words they were dedicated to caring for the wild animals. Some were too old or frail. Frail means feeble. Gnawed, her sadness gnawed at her. It's like to chew. A dog would gnaw a bone, chew on something. Hope had been savaged by a dog. She'd been brutally attacked by a dog. And released were to be set free. That night, Aoife tossed and turned in bed. Sleep was impossible. If only there was something she could do. Suddenly she sat bolt upright. She had the solution. Natasha Walker, the new landlord's daughter, had just joined her class in school. If she invited Natasha round to see the animals, surely Natasha would tell her father what a wonderful place the animal sanctuary was. When Aoife spoke to Natasha the next day, the new girl didn't seem very friendly. She looked bored when Aoife told her about the animals, but she agreed to visit that weekend. Natasha arrived on Saturday. Mum was caring for their newest patient, a hedgehog. Aoife peered into the cage when it was sleeping. What's wrong with him? She asked. Someone found this little one in their garden today, Mum replied. If hedgehogs are out in the daytime, there's usually something wrong. I'm just warming him up now, but I think he might have lungworm. Would you like a closer look? Lungworm? Ooh, Natasha replied, pulling a face. Get it away from me. Aoife took Natasha to the nursery where tiny orphan baby birds were being fed by volunteers. She thought Natasha would love the little birds, but she just made another face. They're so weird looking, she said. Where are all their feathers? What's the point in having all these animals if none of them are even cute? Natasha went home, leaving Aoife feeling totally miserable. Aoife had done everything she could, but it wasn't enough to save the sanctuary. She helped Mum for the rest of the day, trying her best to be cheerful. So just looking, there's two words in black here. Solution is like an answer to, a solution to a problem, an answer. And volunteers would be helpers. After dinner that evening, Dad's phone rang. He picked it up straight away. I'll be right there, Aoife heard him say. He was out the front door in a flash. 10 minutes later, Aoife heard Dad's truck pull into the drive. Mum opened the door and Dad came in, carrying something in a cardboard box. The new landlord walked in after him, and Natasha followed close behind. The car in front of us hit it, Natasha cried with a desperate look in her eyes. Aoife peeked into the box. It was a beautiful female fox with a bleeding leg. They brought the fox into the surgery where Dad examined it carefully. One of her back legs is broken, but we can operate right away, Dad announced. I think she'll be just fine. To Aoife's astonishment, Natasha burst into tears. I was so worried seeing that sweet little fox lying there, she sobbed. I'm so glad you can save her. We're the only vets around here who treat wild animals, Ma'am said, looking Mr. Walker straight in the eye. Anyone else would have just put her to sleep. If you take away our sanctuary, these poor creatures will have nobody to look out for them. Mr. Walker looked from Ma'am to his sobbing daughter and back again. He sighed. I can see you do great work here, he said, nodding. There's another plot of land not too far from here. I was planning to buy it as an investment. It's bigger with a much better view of the river. Maybe that would be a better place for those new apartments. Maybe you three should stay just where you are. Ma'am, Dad, and Aoife looked at each other and shared a relieved smile. It looked like everything was going to be okay after all. So the next little bit is the vocabulary section here in blue. So we'll look at these and you can answer them when you have them done. So number 1, her face was grim as she delivered the bad news. Does that mean cheerful, white, kind, or gloomy? And grim there means D, gloomy. Number 2, the crowd was stunned by the last-minute goal. Calm, shocked, sad, or confused. And stunned there means B, shocked. Number 3, her parents were devoted to the sanctuary. A, friendly, B, dedicated, C, demanding, D, neglectful. And devoted means B, dedicated. Number 4, the hungry lions savaged their food. They licked, they attacked, they chased, or they followed. Savaged means they attacked. That's B. Number 5, the hedgehog was released back into the wild after his recovery. Shoved, set free, held, or forced. Released means B, set free. And number 6, we tried to save the ship, but the situation was desperate. A, hopeless, B, hopeful, C, caring, or D, unconcerned. And desperate means A, hopeless. So now we're looking at the next page, 162, and this is part D, vocabulary. Something the library has closed down. Luckily, unfortunately, or desperately. And that would be unfortunately. Unfortunately, the library is closed down. Number 2, something is a shelter for those who need help. Den, house, or sanctuary. Number 2 is a sanctuary. Number 3, she was something after her illness. Grim, stunned, or frail. And that is frail. She was frail after her illness. Her worries, something at her all night. Comforted, gnawed, or savaged. Her worries gnawed at her all night. We finally found something to the problem. A problem, a solution, or devotion. We found a solution to the problem. And we gave our donations to the friends, volunteers, or rivals. And that one would be to the volunteers. And then the next section there is the grammar section. It's and its. So it's when to use the apostrophe. So it's apostrophe S with an apostrophe means it is. So if you can replace the sentence with it is and it makes sense, you use an apostrophe. For example, it's raining tonight also means it is raining tonight. So it's short for it is. It's without an apostrophe means belonging to it. So something belonging to something is ITS. For example, its leg was broken, so there's no apostrophe there. Write the sentences out, add apostrophes where they're needed. So number 1, its fur was covered in fleas. Apostrophe or no apostrophe? There's no apostrophe there, okay? Number 2, it's time to go home for tea. And that's short for it is. It is time to go home for tea, so I need an apostrophe there. So put in apostrophe S. Number 3, it's sad to see injured animals. Well, it is sad, so apostrophe before the S there, to see injured animals. Number 4, its white feathers are beautiful. Well, the feathers belong to it, so no apostrophe in that one. Number 5, it's a very old horse. And it's there is short for it is. It is a very old horse, so apostrophe before the S there, number 5. And number 6, it's a long way to the farm. It's there is short for it is. It is a long way to the farm, makes sense there. So you put in an apostrophe before the S. Now write the sentences, fill in the gaps with its or it apostrophe S. It's her birthday tomorrow. The first one would need apostrophe. It is her birthday tomorrow. Its mane is tangled. So the mane belongs to the animals, so no apostrophe. It's time to feed the animals is short for it is time to feed the animals, so put in an apostrophe. Number 4, it's the animals we're worried about. Again, it is the animals we're worried about, so you put an apostrophe in number 4 as well. Can you see its yellow eyes? So the yellow eyes belong to whatever the creature is, so it's ITS, no apostrophe. And number 6, I have its medicine here, ITS, no apostrophe. I have its medicine here. So this week we're looking at part F as well. So on the next page is writing skills, and these are called story openings. So this is the introduction you give to a story to make it interesting that the reader wants to read about it. It's also known as a hook, to hook the reader's interest. So they can start with an interesting description of something, dialogue, which is people speaking to each other, a lot of sound words maybe, it's very descriptive sounds in it, or exciting action. So read the story openings below, and then you have to do a few things in relation to them. So first one is A. It was a wild night, torrential rain dashed against the window. A wind twisted branches into eerie shapes. Danny peered anxiously through the window. So what kind of an opening do you think that is? Is it interesting? It's dialogue, sound words, or exciting action? Well, that one I would say sound words, isn't there? Wild night, torrential rain, dashed against the window, the wind twisted. All those would be sound words. So B, thump thump. Rosie pressed her ear to the wall. What on earth is in there, she wondered. So that's dialogue. You can see the quotation marks for speech marks. Okay, and C, the spaceship whooshed through the sky like a silver bullet. It slowed over the garden, circled twice, then came to rest on the lawn. Immediately a door clicked open. Cian rushed downstairs, then slowly, nervously. What was he about to see? That sounds to me like exciting action, maybe, or else an interesting description. Either one could be right there. So what you have to do in your copy, which story openings use descriptive dialogue, sound words, or actions, and which one did you prefer and why? So which one was the most exciting one for you? Write an opening to a story with the title The Night We Got Lost. Include at least 2 of the things listed at the top of the page. So a short paragraph, an opening paragraph on the night we got lost, and you can put in an interesting description, dialogue, people talking to each other, sound words, or exciting action. And then the next part G is planning a story. So plan a story about an animal rescue. Think of an idea for your story. It could be about a lost pet, a wild animal caught in a trap, a sick farm animal, an idea of your own. Make a person, place, problem map to help you create details for your story. So a person, place, and problem map could be just do a wee mind map like we've done before with a spider diagram. Write in who's your person, what place, where is the action happening, or where is it taking place, and what problem are they faced with, so something to do with an animal. Answer these questions in your copy to do with your story. What story hook will you use to open your story? So is it going to be an interesting description? Is it dialogue, some sound words, or exciting action? How will the problem be solved? So there has to be a problem. How will you solve it? And how will your story end? So we saw in our story about the sanctuary, the problem was that the sanctuary was going to be taken over by the landlord to make flats out of it. And then the problem was solved by the person having a change of heart when they saw all the good work that was done in the sanctuary. So you think about that for your story, and I shall talk to you during the week. Have a good one. Bye.